What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another action-packed episode of Lockdown 23-1. That's right. Today we are going to be talking about the top 3 reasons why inmates attack correctional officers. Okay, a lot of people think they just attack them because they don't like them. Okay, but really there is 3 major reasons why inmates do this. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into topic number 1. No more beating around the bush. Let's jump right into it, okay? Number 1, a lot of correctional officers cause this upon themselves, and that is a fact. There are correctional officers that hate their job and hate inmates, okay? They will start stuff with these inmates not thinking that anything would happen, thinking they have all the power in the world, thinking that they would never get attacked by this individual. Well, guess what? Sooner or later, they're going to treat the wrong inmate like crap and he's going to snap. Simple as that. He might be facing a lot of time and he just don't give a damn. He's going to fire off on that stuff. Or he's just going to straight up shank him. You know, there's plenty of stories out here in Virginia where inmates are shanking wardens, COs, sergeants, killing them. I mean, up there in New York, just recently, a guard got beat up and his neck got snapped. Straight up. You know what I mean? This is real stuff that is happening on a regular basis in the United States. Correctional officers do get beat up. So yeah, man, there's a lot of correctional officers that nitpick, okay? There's a certain book in prison that has a list of charges that you could be charged with. And I'll tell you right now, like 40% of those charges aren't even enforced. But there are correctional officers that will write up charges on inmates for this petty stuff. And they will cause a disturbance in the block or pod or dorm, whatever the case is. They are coming into this prison and trying to regulate stuff, especially rookies, man. A rookie will come in and act like a super correctional officer and, hand out charges left and right because their bed ain't made properly. People are losing good time, people are losing visits, canteen, all because this rookie cop wants to come in and be a super cop. You don't think inmates are going to get tired and fed up with that? They're going to get them up out of there. They're going to someone is going to figure out a way to get that homeboy up out of that side of the compound. So a little piece of advice to correctional officers out there, and I know a lot of them already understand this code of conduct, man. Do not be such a freaking tightwad. You know what I mean? Be a little lenient. You ain't got to freaking write people up charges for the pettiest of stuff. You are not going to be elevated to a higher rank or get any kind of special perks just because you're writing up all these bogus charges about beds not being folded properly. And a lot of these COs already know that they're not going to get any kind of special perks or higher rank just because they write up 100 freaking bed infractions a day. They do it out of anger and spite. There are individuals, correctional officers, that literally hate inmates. They look at them like pieces of trash. They'll say, hey, this guy's in prison. He ain't going to amount to nothing. He might get out, but he's going to be right back. If it wasn't for inmates, I wouldn't even have a job. So I hope he comes back. Help me get a paycheck. And there's also inmates that can cause these correctional officers to be freaking punks, man. You know what I mean? They will push these COs to the limit and be like, hey, and the CO's going to snap. And how is he going to snap? He could beat you up, but more likely, he's just going to make your day a living hell. He's going to write you charges and take all your amenities in the penitentiary. So these inmates, another piece of advice for inmates out there, okay? Treat these guards with respect because you never know when you might have to use them as an asset while doing time in the penitentiary. For real. Any smart inmate knows if they want to get something done while in the penitentiary, whether it's contraband or whatever, guess what? They aren't going to sit there and disrespect the correctional officer all the time. They are going to find the right correctional officer and they're going to groom them until they figure out what they're going to do with them in the system. It's one big mind game in the penitentiary. One big mind game, my friends. You can go the easy route, you can go the hard route, or you can go the smart route. It's up to you. And that goes for inmates and correctional officers. Now, number 2, and a lot of people have no earthly idea about this, okay? Check it out. Inmates will harm a correctional officer out of fear. Fear of what? Fear of the correctional officer? No. I've seen inmates attack correctional officers because they want to get off the compound. They want to go to the hole because they know if they go back to population, they're going to be tore up by the inmates. So what's the easiest way to get up out that compound that you might be in fear of being killed by your fellow gang or a rival gang? The best way to do it is either threaten a correctional officer or physically attack them. And believe it or not, inmates do this on a regular basis just to be sent to the hole where they can do their time by themselves or get sent to another compound. And sometimes it backfires on them. they'll get sent to another compound and it's worse than the compound they just left. But that is the facts, okay? Inmates attack guards because they don't want to be in population. A lot of inmates do a lot of weird things just to get the hell away from other inmates. Whether they're in fear of other inmates or they just want to do their time in the hole in segregation. But these are the facts. It happens every day, man. Inmates will harm or threaten a correctional officer just to get to a certain location. Just like that one story I told you. The correctional officer said I threatened him, but I didn't. But guess what? Just because he said I threatened him, man, I went and sat in a hole for a whole 2 seasons. You know what I mean? For real. Until they got me off the compound. Inmates know so many different ways to manipulate the system to get where they want to go or get what they want done. So just keep that in mind. Some things that you might see in prison aren't always as they seem, my friend. Sometimes they have a deeper meaning to them. Now, number 3, I've seen this happen twice. And I can't sit here and say 100% that it is why it happened, but I can almost guarantee it, okay? I was in visitation on 2 separate occasions, and there happened to be fights breaking out, okay? What happens in prison when a fight breaks out? What happens in prison when you fight a correctional officer, okay? Keep this in mind. I don't care what penitentiary you're in. The COs are always outnumbered by the inmates, okay? So what happens, okay? Most of these prisons are understaffed dramatically. You might see one person in the booth for hours. So what happens when, let's say, an inmate fires off on a correctional officer? What do you think is going to happen? They call whatever code they call on their freaking radio, dispatch, code red, officer attack. Guess what? Every freaking CO from all corners of the prison or jail are going to flock to that fight going on with the correctional officers. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, all the correctional officers are running to that location where the other CO is getting beat up. What does that mean? Okay, well, guess what? That's an open window for people to pass drugs, throw drugs over the freaking fence, drones to drop drugs. It doesn't matter. You know why? Because all eyes are on the homeboy that's fighting the correctional officer. And OGs and shot callers will put out these hits just so it'll be a major distraction to get what they want to get into the compound. Okay? And like I said, I think I've seen it twice. Now check it out. I went to visitation one time in St. Bride's Correctional Facility, and I walked down there with 2 other guys that came from the same block that I was in, and we were all cool, you know. The 2 guys, they have no problems going in to get searched, pat down, or whatever to go into visitation. There was no problems, okay? Everybody was kicking. It was a smooth event. And of course, these dudes was gangbanging. You know what I mean? They were a part of the same clique. Now, when we get into the visitation room after we got patted down one by one, there was no issues, no problems. Everything was good and go lucky. I get into the visitation, and guess what? About 15 minutes into my visit, these guys start fighting. They start tussling. Not really fighting, they're tussling. I can almost guarantee 100% that these guys were just starting a diversion for someone in that visitation to get some dope. And that's how it happens. You know, a lot of inmates get stuff done by diversions, okay? It's like a big magic trick. And for real, there's no way that these correctional officers can even, plan to stop this, because it could happen at any given moment. And strict procedures are, if a correctional officer or someone gets in a fight, guess what? There's going to be a rush of correctional officers to stop the fight, especially in the visitation. You think they want innocent bystanders to get hurt by these guys fighting? No. All eyes, all cameras, everything is going to be on them. And that's going to give homeboy a perfect time to swallow all the bags of dope. That's how it goes, my friends. Almost everything, when it comes to contraband, drugs, stuff like that, weapons, it is planned out. It is planned out and strategized for at least a couple days. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. If you haven't hit that like and subscribe button, please do so now. And keep in mind, these are just my 3 top reasons on why inmates might attack a correctional officer. Just keep in mind, there's a lot of other reasons why. Dude might just be psychotic or something. I don't know. Dude might have had beef with the correctional officer on the street. Who knows? There's all kinds of things, but these, in my book, are the top 3 reasons why. Should you attack a correctional officer in prison? I wouldn't suggest it. Okay, that's attacking an officer. That's a felony, man. You are gonna get oiled up in the courtroom for that, my friends. For real. Especially if you break his nose and he has blood. Oh my God. You don't want that charge on your record, my friends. I'm telling you. Unless you already got a life sentence and it doesn't freaking matter. Hey, do what you want to do. But if you got like 2 years left, hey, you better suck it up. Don't be firing off no correctional officer unless you don't want to go home anytime soon. And that's the truth, raw facts. They will win in the long run, my friends. They got the court and the paperwork on their side. Anyways, until the next time, man, I salute every last one of y'all who've been supporting me on this journey since the beginning and everyone who's just now hitting that subscribe button. Y'all be safe out there.